As the so-called Israel-Hamas war enters its second month, anger at Israel's actions and perceived war crimes is growing in Pakistan. As chants for Palestine ring through the nation, we decided to find out exactly what Pakistan's relationship is with Israel. The declaration in our passports might make you think it's clear. We're enemies. Pakistan is one of 30 countries that doesn't even recognize the state of Israel. But there's a lot more here than what meets the eye. In this video, we'll dive a little into the history between Israel and Pakistan and give you context for where things stand right now between our Islamic Republic and the only Jewish state. Confused? Let Samjo explain.
Pakistan's rejection of Israel has been constant since the founding of our nation. In 1947, Pakistani ambassador Zafarullah Khan immediately created a ruckus in the UN, denying the legitimacy of the Balfour Declaration, the British government's plan to create Israel in Palestine, calling the plan unjust. The ambassador was acting on the directives of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, whose own opinions on Israel were clear. In 1945, Jinnah predicted that the exploitation inflicted upon the Palestinians by the creation of Israel would lead to no peace or end to wars. The country he founded has wavered on many of his opinions since then, but not this one. Hostilities were so bad that even a simple diplomatic request by Israel in the 1950s, allowing Afghani Jews to travel to India through Pakistan, was refused. In 1962, Pakistan announced it was engaging in a commercial, economic, and cultural boycott of Israel, and referred to it as a thieving country. In the 1967 and 1973 Arab-Israeli wars, the hostility went beyond just words. Pakistan Air Force pilots flew Jordanian and Syrian planes, reportedly downing a few Israeli ones. Over the decades, significant numbers of Pakistanis have volunteered to fight for the PLO, with 50 even being captured by Israel in the 1982 battle for Beirut. In the UN, Pakistan delivered statements, letters expressing concern, and amped up international pressure on the issue of Palestine.
The ire wasn't one-sided. In the 80s, Israel's intelligence agency Mossad tried to stop the Pakistani nuclear program, what the US Air Force called the Islamic bomb, in its tracks. They even hatched a plan to bomb our nuclear facilities from India. India stopped them, fearing nuclear retaliation from Pakistan, but not before the ISI had learned of this and started planning just such a thing. Something that might have changed the course of history. Phew, that was close. On a lighter note, Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu cancelled his reservation at a fancy schmancy New York City restaurant during the 2015 session of the UN after learning Nawaz Sharif was also dining there, having recently called out Israel's naked brutality in Palestine. Sounds petty of Netanyahu, but Pakistani civilian leaders have never been shy in calling out Israel. Most recently, Imran Khan, who notably said that he would never reconsider recognizing Israel until there was a solution that satisfies the Palestinians. So, we are enemies, right? Domestic support for Palestine and anti-Israel sentiment seems unwavering across demographics. Aside from religious solidarity, many Pakistanis relate the Palestinian cause for freedom to the freedom of Kashmir, another core value of Pakistan since its inception. So then why would Netanyahu say, publicly, during his trip to India of all places, that Israel is not an enemy to Pakistan? Well, because things aren't always as they seem.
To explain what we mean, let's talk about what's happening right now. On October 7th, Hamas retaliated against Israeli occupation by launching a set of coordinated attacks on Gazan border sites controlled by Israel. Over 1,000 Israelis are reported to have been killed. This served as a catalyst to what is now being called the 2023 Israel-Hamas war, where the death toll in Gaza has now crossed 10,000. The people of Pakistan have been watching closely. There have been shows of solidarity throughout the nation, with Pakistani cricketer Mohammad Rizwan even dedicating his century to the people of Gaza. But when the news of fighting first broke out, people noticed that the government wasn't taking the sort of stance you'd expect from the Pakistani government. Unelected caretaker PM Kakar, who had just recently drawn public fury for comparing Pakistan's relationship to China with the US-Israeli axis, condemned escalating violence in the Middle East and asked for a solution to the Palestine question. Mofa took a similarly measured stance and called for maximum restraint. Even the far-right party JUIF leader Maulana Fazlur Rahman, known for being staunchly anti-Israel, mentioned the human rights of Israelis, which many saw as shocking coming from him. Compare that to the response from Indonesia or Malaysia, the former head of state of which even released a video called of lies and deceptions to counter Israeli disinformation.
And people noticed. This surprisingly lukewarm response, compounded by local reports that a pro-Palestine rally was shut down in Islamabad by the police, raised eyebrows for its contrast to mass public opinion, which was decidedly furious at Israel. Later, due to mounting public pressure, Mofa said they sent aid to Gaza, and PM Kakar posted a much more forceful follow-up tweet condemning Israel. Army Chief Asim Munir also had to clarify to his own corps commanders that the army unequivocally supported the Palestinian cause. This clarification is necessary because the truth is that the Pakistani army of all institutions in Pakistan has had the most contact with Israel, something we only know because of leaks and information hiding in plain sight. Military General Ziaul Haq, known to have participated in Black September, the Jordanian conflict in which thousands of Palestinians were killed, instructed the ISI to establish contact with Mossad as far back as the 80s. He was also noted as once saying, "Pakistan is like Israel, an ideological state." Since then, the connection has been going pretty strong, although it's very hush-hush. According to an October 2009 WikiLeaks cable, the head of Pakistan's ISI contacted Israeli officials to warn of potential attacks on Israeli targets in India. The ISI even bought spyware from Israel, which has been used by the FIA, the body that curiously leaked a list which conditionally allowed Israeli citizens to enter Pakistan in 2018. Reports of clandestine meetings and differences between the state and the public's opinions have been well documented through both formal and informal channels. Like, remember that UN ambassador we mentioned in the beginning, the one who had a lot to say against Israel? Well, in 1953, he met with the Israeli ambassador to the United States and said that there didn't seem to be much chance of normalization, despite the fact that the Pakistani government does not bear any hatred towards Israel and understands that it is a factor in the Middle East that must be taken into consideration. In 2012, Musharraf similarly said, "There is nothing to lose by trying to get on Israel's good side," and that Pakistan also needs to keep readjusting its diplomatic stand towards Israel based on the mere fact that it exists and it is not going away. Under his military rule, Pakistani and Israeli ambassadors publicly met for the first time in 2005 in Turkey. But normalization didn't happen, and the Pakistani people erupt into protest every time it's suggested. Just recently, Captain Safdar of the Sharif family threatened to nuke Israel at a pro-Palestine rally in Peshawar. So why does it keep being suggested?
Well, our last elected civilian leader, Imran Khan, revealed that there were significant pressures from foreign allies to normalize relations with Israel, naming the US as one of them. Murtaza Solangi, the information minister, had to recently clarify that Pakistan cannot be forced to change its stance on Israel. The US is Israel's biggest ally and holds significant influence over institutions like the IMF, which regularly has to bail us out. But Pakistan's relationship to the US is a weird one, since we have a government that needs them and a population with some of the highest anti-American sentiment in the world. There's also the ever-present reality of our neighbor, India, whose close relations with Israel have been heavily publicized. Pakistan can't afford to be left out. It is not just the US and India, though. Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen made waves across the Muslim world when he stated this September that 6 to 7 Muslim countries might normalize ties with Israel, explicitly naming only Saudi Arabia. There is a lot of historical, cultural, and political evidence that Saudi Arabia has often been a decision maker for Pakistan. After the success of the US brokered Abraham Accords in 2020, which normalized Israeli ties with the UAE and Bahrain, it didn't come as much of a surprise that MBS's Saudi might be next. Before this fighting broke out a few weeks ago, it seemed like Saudi-Israeli normalization was due any moment. Perhaps that is why the initial response to fighting was so muted in Pakistan. They didn't know where things would go.
But soon after, once it was clear that Israel would be punishing Gaza severely for Hamas resisting against them, analysts noted that normalization was in jeopardy throughout the Muslim world, including, curiously, in Pakistan. Our caretaker foreign minister said that Pakistan would act in its national interests, but it's been put on the record that our national interests often align with those of the Arab states. So it is possible that we might ease up if they ease up. And the issue has been put on the news agenda several times in recent years. In 2022, a group of 15 Pakistanis went to Israel, most of them with dual citizenships. But notably, 2 of them traveled on their Pakistani passports. The outrage that ensued was well documented, and one of the attendees, prominent journalist and Israel supporter Ahmed Qureshi, was fired from his job on state television due to public pressure. The other Pakistani who traveled on a Pakistani passport was Fishal Ben Khald, a Pakistani Jew who had previously courted controversy by exporting kosher goods from Pakistan to Israel. So, normalization is not such an absurd possibility, but Pakistan hasn't bowed yet, and that is largely due to internal pressure. Think about it. Pakistan recognized Bangladesh after a few years of pressure, but decades of pressure haven't convinced us when it comes to Israel. That's because the people, in this case, just aren't there for it. In fact, all indications are that the recent string of violence in Gaza has only further entrenched most Pakistani people's views on the topic.
To sum up this complicated relationship, it seems that it is optically one way, but really another behind closed doors. The Pakistani leadership is not known for its adherence to the people's will, as recent news about the export of Pakistani arms to Ukraine exemplifies. Normalization is not an impossible future, and may happen given enough time. But whatever happens, public opinion is not wavering. To drop the issue of Palestine is akin to abandoning Kashmir, according to political experts across the board. And the Pakistani people have shown no sign of letting go. And what about you? Do you think Pakistan could normalize its relationship with Israel in the future? Let us know in the comments below and stay informed with Samjo.